A 13-year-old orphan girl forced into a cruel child marriage. What happens next will shock you. An entire village, from betrayal to Billionaire's secret, witness Maya's jaw-dropping rise to justice and power. You won't believe her incredible transformation. Maya was only 13 years old. She lived in a small village in the USA with her father. Her father worked very hard at a supermarket. He was always busy, trying to give Maya a good life. But Maya's mother had died when she was very young. After some time, her father married a new woman. At first, Maya hoped the new stepmother would be kind. But soon, Maya saw a different side. The stepmother was cold and harsh. One night, when the clock showed 10, her stepmother called Maya. "Go to the shop," she said. "I need medicine." It was late and dark, but Maya had no choice. Maya was tired and scared. She told her stepmother she didn't want to go. The stepmother shouted and insulted her. Maya felt anger rise inside her. She slapped her stepmother hard. It was the first time she had done something like this. Maya left the house, walking quickly into the dark. She felt a cold wind, and suddenly a hand grabbed her from behind. Someone covered her mouth and pulled her into the jungle nearby. Maya struggled, but it was no use. She didn't know what was happening. The night was long and frightening. The last thing she remembered was the cold hand holding her tight. When morning came, Maya woke up alone, in pain, in the bushes. Her clothes were torn, and her body hurt badly. She didn't know what had happened to her, but she knew something terrible was wrong. Maya slowly got up from the bushes, her body aching all over. She tried to remember what happened the night before, but her mind was confused and blurry. All she knew was that someone had hurt her. Tears ran down her cheeks as she started walking home, hoping someone would help her. When Maya reached her house, she cried out for her stepmother. But instead of kindness, she got a cruel slap across her face. "Stop lying, you useless child," the stepmother shouted. "Nothing happened to you." Maya's heart broke even more. She wanted to scream, to tell someone, but no one believed her. Her father was still busy at work. He didn't know what was happening at home. Maya felt so alone and scared. Every day, she tried to hide her pain. But her body was changing. She felt sick often and was very tired. Sometimes she would wake up in the night, feeling weak and scared. Months passed, and Maya's stepmother started to notice something was wrong. One day, she dragged Maya to the hospital. The doctor's words were shocking. "Maya is pregnant," the doctor said softly. Maya's eyes filled with tears. How could this happen to her? At home, the stepmother was angry and cold. "Who will take care of your child?" "Not us," she shouted. Then, she made a cruel decision. "You will marry a homeless man. That will solve everything." Maya was terrified. She prayed every night for her father to come home, to save her. But he was still busy with work, too far away to help. Maya's heart was heavy as she faced the harsh truth. Her stepmother stopped giving her food, letting her starve while she ate and laughed with others. Maya's body was weak, and her spirit felt broken. She was 7 months pregnant, and the pain inside and outside was hard to bear. One cold morning, her stepmother shouted, "You are no longer welcome here. Leave this house now." Maya felt like a piece of trash, thrown away without care. She stepped outside with nothing but fear and pain. The village people whispered and stared at her, some with pity, others with cruel smiles. As she sat near the road, crying quietly, a man approached her. He looked poor, like the stepmother said, but his eyes were kind. "What happened to you?" he asked gently. Maya told him everything, the abuse, the pain, the loneliness. The man's name was Jack. He did not judge Maya. Instead, he promised to take care of her and the baby she carried. Jack held her hand and said, "You are not alone anymore." The village people laughed at them, mocking Jack for caring for Maya. But Jack did not care. He wanted to protect her. Maya felt a small hope in her heart for the first time in many months. Even though the future was uncertain, she knew Jack was different. He stayed by her side, comforting her through the darkest days. But just when Maya thought life might change, a surprise was waiting. A big white SUV appeared in the village, shining brightly. Maya watched in shock as the drivers greeted Jack with respect. Who was this man, really? Maya felt her heart pounding as she stared at the big white SUV. How could Jack, who looked like a poor man, be treated with so much respect? Her mind was filled with questions and fear. Was this a trap? Could she trust him? Jack smiled gently and took her hand. Maya, don't be afraid.
You're safe now.
I want to show you something. Maya had no choice but to trust him. She got into the car with him, holding her growing belly carefully. The SUV drove away from the village, far from the whispers and stares. After some time, they arrived at a huge, beautiful house. The house had big glass windows and looked very rich and clean. The gatekeeper greeted Jack with a respectful salute. Maya was frozen with shock. "This is my home," Jack said softly. "I am not who the village thinks I am. I am rich, but I wanted to stay quiet, to protect you and your baby." Maya's mouth was dry, and her eyes wide. She could not believe what she was hearing. Jack had been hiding his true life all along. He had stayed humble for her safety and to avoid the cruelty of the village. Jack promised Maya that he would help her heal, learn, and live a new life, a life full of hope and love. Maya was still scared, but also filled with a little happiness for the first time in a long while. Over the next few months, Jack taught Maya how to live in this new world. She learned to walk with pride, to smile again, and to trust people. But even with all the kindness, Maya never forgot the pain her stepmother caused her. Maya's days slowly changed. She was no longer the scared girl from the village. With Jack's help, she started learning new things. She wore beautiful clothes and lived in a big house with soft beds and warm lights. It was all so different from the cold nights and painful days she once knew. But inside, Maya's heart still carried the sadness of her past. She remembered how her stepmother had hurt her, how her father was too busy to protect her, and how lonely she had felt. Sometimes, tears came quietly at night. One day, Maya felt strong pain in her belly. Jack quickly took her to the hospital. The doctors said it was time. Maya was scared, but also hopeful. Soon, a baby boy was born. His cries filled the room with new life. Jack held the baby with tears in his eyes. "He is a blessing," Jack said softly. Maya smiled, feeling a joy she never thought she would feel again. This little boy was her new hope. Months passed. Maya grew stronger. She learned to care for her son, and Jack was always there, supporting her. Maya's heart started to heal, but one thing stayed clear. She wanted justice. Her stepmother had made her suffer, but now Maya had power and a family who loved her. She promised herself she would return to the village one day, not as the scared girl, but as a strong woman who would change everything. The village would see her not as a victim, but as someone who survived and thrived. Maya's story was just beginning. One day, Maya's stepmother sent invitations to all the rich people in the village. She wanted to show off and feel important. Maya's heart skipped a beat when she received an invitation too. The stepmother didn't know Maya had changed. Jack smiled and said, "Maya, this is your chance. You can go and show everyone who you really are." Maya was nervous, but also excited. She wore her best dress and held her baby boy close. They arrived at the stepmother's house in a big, shiny car. When Maya stepped out, the car door opened by itself, making a soft sound. The people in the village stopped and stared. Whispers flew through the crowd. "How did Maya become so rich?" they asked. "Who is that man with her?" Maya looked at the faces of the people who once laughed at her. She felt strong. She walked with pride toward the house where she had once been hurt. Her stepmother's face turned pale with shock. Maya stood tall and said softly, "This is the life you try to take from me. But I am here now, stronger, loved, and free." The village was silent. They saw Maya not as the poor, sad girl anymore, but as a woman who had overcome great pain. Tears filled Maya's eyes. She was no longer the victim. She was a survivor. Her stepmother looked down, ashamed. Maya's heart was heavy, but also filled with peace. She had found justice. Maya's stepmother stood in front of the crowd, her face pale and trembling. She could not believe that Maya, the girl she had treated so badly, was now the one everyone looked up to. The people whispered and stared, but all Maya saw was the pain in her stepmother's eyes. For the first time, the stepmother understood what she had done. She saw the tears Maya had shed in silence, the nights filled with fear, and the strength it took for Maya to survive. Guilt filled her heart like a heavy stone. Maya felt a mix of sadness and anger. She wanted to forgive, but the wounds were deep. Yet, she also wanted her stepmother to understand the pain she caused. So, she spoke gently, "You made me suffer, but I am still here. I did not give up. I hope one day you will find kindness in your heart." The crowd listened quietly. Some nodded in respect. Others wiped tears from their eyes. Maya was not only standing strong for herself, but for all those who had been hurt and ignored. The stepmother slowly nodded, tears falling from her eyes. It was a small moment of truth and hope. Maya held her baby close and smiled softly. Her journey was far from over, but this day was a step toward healing, not just for her, but for everyone around her. After that day, Maya felt a new light inside her heart. The village slowly began to change too. People started treating her with kindness and respect. They saw her not just as a girl with a sad past, but as someone brave and strong. Maya forgave her stepmother in her own way. It was not easy, but she knew forgiveness was for her own peace. The stepmother also changed, learning to be kinder and more humble. It was a slow and difficult journey for both of them. Jack stayed by Maya's side every step of the way. He was her friend, protector, and the father of her child. Together, they built a life full of love and hope. Maya's baby boy grew healthy and strong. He was a symbol of new beginnings and happiness. Maya dreamed of a future where her son would never have to feel fear or pain. Maya started helping other children in the village who were hurting or scared. She wanted to be the light for those still in darkness, just like Jack had been for her. The village was no longer a place of whispers and cruelty. It became a place of care and love because Maya showed them the power of courage and forgiveness. Maya's journey was full of pain, but also full of hope. She had turned her story from sadness into strength, and in her heart, she knew her best days were still to come. Maya stood on the porch of her big house, holding her son close. The sun was shining warmly, and the village below looked peaceful. She remembered the days when she was scared, alone, and hurting. But now she was free. Her heart was full of love and hope. She had faced the darkest storms and came out stronger. Maya knew she was not just a survivor. She was a fighter, a mother, and a shining light for many. People in the village looked up to her now. They asked for her advice and listened to her stories. Maya shared her strength, teaching them to believe in themselves, no matter how hard life could be. Jack stood beside her, proud and kind. Together, they were a family, built on trust and love. Maya's past pain had not broken her. It had made her brave. But in quiet moments, Maya still thought of her father. She hoped one day he would see her now and be proud. She forgave him too, knowing he was busy, but never gave up on hoping for better days. Maya smiled at her son. She promised to protect him, to give him a life full of happiness and love. Her journey had been long and hard, but her story was far from over. The future was bright, and Maya was ready to face it, standing tall, full of courage and hope. The village was quiet in the evening light. Maya sat by the window, holding her baby boy close. She felt a deep peace she had never known before. The pain of the past was still there, but it no longer ruled her heart. Maya thought about her journey, the darkness, the fear, the loneliness. But she also thought about the love she found with Jack, the strength she discovered inside herself, and the new life she was building. Her stepmother had changed too, and while their past could never be forgotten, there was room now for healing. Maya understood that forgiveness was a gift she gave to herself, freeing her from the chains of pain. Maya looked at her son's smiling face and whispered, "You are my hope, my future." She promised to protect him, to teach him kindness, and to fill his world with love. Though she was still young, Maya had grown into a strong woman. She had faced the worst and had come through with courage and grace. The village had seen her rise from broken to brave, from hurt to hopeful. Maya knew that her story could inspire others to never give up, even when life seems unfair. And as the stars began to shine in the night sky, Maya closed her eyes with a heart full of hope, ready to face tomorrow with strength, love, and the promise of a better future.